Hello, Canada, and welcome to another episode of One Soccer Today, presented by CIBC. Gareth Wheeler, Oliver Platt, and Adam Jenkins. And joining us today, a Canadian football icon. And yes, that is, of course, Ashton Morgan. I'm trying to make him blush before the interview even begins, but incredibly grateful that Ashton has carved a little bit of time for us here this morning. The big news, if you missed it this week, and if you missed it, well, clearly you are not on any kind of social media. It has been everywhere. Ashton has called it quits on an illustrious career. Let's start with a basic one, Ashton. Simply, how are you? Because these retirement weeks, I know we've had the chance to speak to a lot of people, that they've got to be exhausting mentally and physically, but also incredibly exciting. So just what has the process been like since you made the decision, told the team, told the league, and to where we are right now?
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's definitely been a lot. Emotions are still flowing through. It's been interesting not waking up and not having to go to training. I think today was the first day I actually got to sleep in like a very, very, very long time.
It's the little wins.
Yeah, little wins. I was like, oh, this is what that feels like, But honestly, no, it's been it's been an emotional kind of a roller coaster, but lucky to have my my close friends and close family with me through these early days, and just trying to relax and take time for myself.
Why did you decide now was the right time, Ash? Because I'm sure a lot of people would have seen you as still an important part of that Forge team.
Yeah, it's kind of been on my mind for a little bit, over the course of the season, just where I was, how my body was feeling, where I was mentally, and I didn't want to be a disservice to the team and to the club if my mind was elsewhere while we're trying to compete and try to compete and win a championship, So again, a lot of conversations with myself and Coach Bobby and the staff and my family, just to come to this conclusion. And I feel good. I feel good about it. And I know the boys and the club will be in a great place. I think they got all the tools to be successful for the rest of the season for sure.
It's never an easy decision to make one like this. You could be like Michael Jordan and come back again. And there's a lot of athletes, Tom Brady, you can just decide to come back. The door's always open. But the thing that stood out to me this week, Ash, is like people reflected upon your career, what it means to be a Canadian footballer. But the resounding sentiment of former teammates, former staffers that you played with and been with has just been glowing reviews of you, not only as a player, but as a person. Like, how do you take that? Like, I know you're a level-headed guy, but it's got to be kind of emotional because that's the important stuff, right? Is the way that you leave things with the people around you.
No, for sure. It was a lot to take in. There was a lot of energy, and I'm again, like you said, I try to keep my feet on the ground, but I think the emotion just like took over my body, and it's been, again, like I said, it's been an emotional roller coaster for sure. But to hear those words, it makes myself feel good, and I try to represent myself and my family, my name in the best way possible every day in my career, and to hear these things have been a testament to that.
Was there something that either a former teammate or a former coach, someone said to you or posted that really hit you, brought out all the feels? Like, was there something that kind of hit home that someone in particular said?
There've been a few. I couldn't say one or the other, but I feel like the collective, me being a true professional every day, that's something that I try to pride myself on, and to hear that a lot, and to hear like my energy in the locker room and my presence and those things, when sometimes in the season you kind of doubt yourself with a lot of the energy you bring to the guys and to the environment that you're in, but to hear my peers and coaches, speaking on that, makes me feel good, and I hope younger players, younger generation could hear this and try to take a bit of it and put into their everyday life and trying to be inspiring to be a professional, stuff like that. So.
Take it all in. I work with the team. Zero compliments ever for many of my teammates, man. You're a very lucky man.
Yeah.
Very lucky man.
No, thank you.
Around, Wills.
every footballer's career, every athlete's career, Ashton,
Yeah.
is full of the peaks and valleys, and so
Yeah.
much of what you can control, you try to control to the nth degree. What time you go to bed, what you eat, everything is micromanaged on because it has to be. But so many people don't get the chance, despite doing everything right, to find success. How do you think you're going to look back on your career with the championships you won? I mean, obviously the most recent one being last year, and then to shift gears into the last probably 6-7 months of your career where you're with this Forge team that has done some incredible things, and yet you get to be the veteran, the idol, and still contribute to these young guys who are really showing that the future of Canadian football is bright.
Yeah, it's been a ride for sure. Like I said before, I came to Forge. I knew they were a winning football club, and I want to, bring more great energy with that. Bring my professionalism and, my pedigree that I have created for myself to this team. The young guys have been great. Everything's been awesome. And for my career, from like early days in TFC, not winning a lot, to then growing up and getting better, and the club figuring it out, and we started to win and becoming a winning football club and actually lifting trophies is like, again, some people could play their whole career and not lift one trophy. I'm just happy I've been able to lift multiple with multiple clubs as well. So those things I will be forever in my heart, forever, written to the history. And I'm just so happy I could be part of those opportunities and those experiences for sure.
So you got a few choices here, obviously, an MLS title, CPL title, numerous Canadian championships, and I'm sure there's individual matches and moments that stand out to you as well.
Yeah.
Can you pick one that you would look back on as the highlight of your career when you reflect on it now?
Man, for sure, the MLS Cup title. Just being with my dad and talking about when the Blue Jays are won the back-to-back and having the parades in the city, and me and him just reflecting on those moments, and just having to have that moment, the parade and all those types of things, and seeing him in the crowd, not even on the bus. He's kind of like me. He's kind of like quiet, stays to himself, and he's a courier too. So he was working while we're in the parade. I see him in the corner, and he's waving at me. And I'm on the bus. I'm like pointing at him. And it's like, why aren't you in the bus with me? But he's like, no, he's a hardworking man. But to have that, those experiences, and again, no one really knows that, but to have that experience with him and have that moment, those things are like inside me forever. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest ones for sure.
As a young man growing up in Toronto, I mean, this is the pinch me stuff. Like,
yeah,
when I was growing up, I never thought that any of this was possible. And some people roll their eyes at me today when I say, honestly, it's never been better in Canadian football in terms of opportunity, the direction that we're going, despite a lot of the noise that's out there. Do you try to pass on what you experienced? Like when you were coming through TFC Academy, it was a very different place, wasn't it, to where we are today? I just wonder what you kind of think about the road that we've gone on and how we kind of deal with some of the pressures and some of the expectations that come along with that today.
Yeah, it's much different now. There's a lot more. I think, like you said, there's a lot more opportunity for the younger generation, and different outlets and different leagues to play in, and different opportunities. For myself, it was only a few avenues we could take, and I had to fight, kick, scratch, and bust my ass every single day just to get a piece. So especially my time at Forge, with a lot of young guys on the team, I would definitely speak on those moments that I went through to get to where I was or am today after a 13-year career. It hasn't been easy. The road for me has not been easy. I had a lot of hills and a lot of mountains to climb, but those moments made me the player who I am today and the man I am today. But I definitely have touched on those moments with a lot of the younger guys in their team, and can't take this job for granted, even with all the new opportunities we have now in Canada. But it's still a tough road,
It's important to pass on, right? Like,
yeah.
it's we live in a world today where we want things right away. This whole idea of patience and process, it's something not easily preached, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not. Again, that's been kind of my this last little bit for myself has been patience and consistency, and I feel I've been doing that a lot in my career, but these last 2 years for sure have been patience and consistency, and I've been trying to preach that to the young lads as well, just because, like you said, a lot of people want it all right now, but just because you want it doesn't mean it's going to come, and just because you do the right things, it also doesn't mean it's going to come, right? So can you be patient and consistent when your number's called, or are you going to be ready to step up and perform?
Ashton Morgan joins us on One Soccer Today, presented by CIBC, recently having announced his retirement. You mentioned the process in the championship, so I would be remiss if I didn't ask you to put your analyst hat on for a minute or two here for Forge right now, because the three-time reigning champions, once again, Ash, you guys are right back in the fight for a CPL title. And one of the interesting things for me coming into this season was, I remember last year Bobby speaking to the window in this league. He expected it to be 3 or 4 years, and we're on year 5 now of this project. And don't get me wrong, the loss of Daniel Crutzen moving on to a new project was huge, but then you get Mandrakar James to come in, and we haven't seen Benny play yet, but obviously he's an exciting new new name for this team. Where do you see the growth internally from the team? Because you guys had your best ever start and then early struggles, and now it seems like you're finding your footing again. I know a really close friend of yours, Kyle Becker, just was named the player of the month for the month of July. Just where are things at right now in Forgeland, and how are you feeling about the final sprint to the finish line as they compete for a regular season title?
Yeah, it's been an interesting year. Like you said, we've had a great start, kind of a sticky middle, and usually we don't start well. So, but again, every season's a little different, and in the club, we've all acknowledged that this season is much different than others. I think, again, we've been patient. The ball kind of hasn't been falling our way a little bit. Certain aspects of the game, but as you can see, there's still bright lights and moments that we still have, and it's a tricky moment. I don't know. It's like we do go in the change room and we all look at each other and we're like, guys, we can do this. We just need to finish and play a full 90-minute match, But again, I have nothing but, utmost respect for the lads and Coach Bobby and the staff. I feel we are finding our feet. We're finding our feet right now, and, I think we're looking good. We'll be good. We'll be fine. Yeah.
And as someone who's kind of seen like every level of Canadian soccer, Ash, the national team, obviously TFC, the highs and the lows that you went through at that club, what will your kind of lasting impression be of the CPL and of Forge and the time you spent there at the end of your career here?
No, I loved it. I loved every moment of it. I think the league's growing. It's getting better every year. This is my second season in the league. I think, you're seeing more players being attracted to the league. One of my best friends, Daniil Henry, coming back and playing for Halifax. Maybe I could have waited a little longer to face him on the pitch, but it is what it is. But no, honestly, it's a beautiful league. And again, it's just the beginning, and I'm so happy to see on all teams. Like the youth and the talent on multiple teams is getting better, and I don't know. I'm super excited to see where it all goes. And it's looking good.
It's getting tight this year. Honestly,
it's tight, yeah.
Even Forge, you gotta be like, wow, it's not so much in the rear view mirror. Those objects are as close as they appear. So if it's not Forge, it's going to go on and win either the regular season or the North Star Shield. Is it this year? Who is it? Who do you think is going to, potentially provide the biggest threat?
That's tough. That's a tough one. I'm Forged for life. I'm Forged for life. And
if not Forge.
That's a tough one to answer. I don't know. I'm not too sure.
I think you're sure. You just don't want to say. And I appreciate that.
That is a veteran move right there. It's not the first time he's handled a fastball like that. Ashton, we're on the 15th minute, and I know I want to be respectful of your time. So I'll ask you the question that I'm sure everyone's wondering, but also I'm sure you probably can't tell us everything yet. So aside from focusing on time with family, watching Forge matches as a supporter now, and making some of the best coffee in the city of Toronto, what is next for you, and how excited are you to sort of have a new chapter and a blank page where you can start to write the next part of your legacy?
Yeah, definitely want to be in football still and still be involved, and use my experiences that I've been through over my course of my time in football, and definitely help out maybe in a different way, different aspect of the game, more of a on the side, but definitely more of an impactful role, you know, and I'm really excited to get going and help the younger generation, you know, become professionals, young professionals, and you know, young men in the game.
Wow, we really appreciate your time. Congratulations. All the best. Thank you so much for carving 15 minutes for us. We really appreciate it. We've been a fan of you on the field, and we'll be a fan of you off the field as well.
I appreciate that, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Ashton Morgan.
Appreciate
one of the greats joining us on One Soccer Today, presented by CIBC.